Hello, everyone. Welcome to Cumberland Council on November 27th, 2023. I would like to open the meeting and recognize that we are gathering on the unceded traditional territory of the Comox First Nation, and we are grateful for their care and stewardship of this land since time immemorial. Could I have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Thank you. And we have minutes from November 14th council meeting and November 20th financial plan open house.
Move the minutes.
Thank you. Thank you. All in favor? Thank you. And committee minutes from Advisory Planning Commission November 9th.
Move the Advisory Planning Commission minutes.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you. All in favor? Thank you. And delegations. Come on up, Cumberland Farmers Market. Well, you're bigger than that, but for now, are you going to talk about it all or just Cumberland?
All.
All.
All, yeah.
Awesome. Okay. You're welcome to sit or stand, whatever you like, as long as the mic's live.
Can you hear me all right? All right.
Yep.
Thanks for the opportunity to present today. For those of you that don't know, my name is Twyla, and I'm the General Manager for the Comox Valley Farmers Market. Today, I'm here to provide an update on all of our activities since we last talked, but also to provide some information about the preliminary results of our economic impact study. Most of you probably know a lot about what we do and who we are, but for those that don't, I'll give a little bit of information. I apologize. Some of you have probably already seen some of the slides in this presentation, but I promise that there are a few new ones in here. So who are we? Our mandate is to promote and support the economic health of the local farm and food community and to educate the public on agricultural issues. All the products sold at the market are made, baked, grown, raised, and wild harvested in the Comox Valley and Strathcona regional districts. Approximately 90% of our vendors are within a 20-kilometer radius of the Comox Valley exhibition grounds. So when we talk about food miles, so that's the distance that food is transported from the time of its making to the time it reached the consumer, our food miles here in the Comox Valley are 20 kilometers or less. That's amazing. You know, when we talk about Canada-wide, it's multiple hundreds and thousands of kilometers / miles away, so 20 kilometers is awesome. We are a food-only farmer-first farmers market that has operated for nearly 32 years. Our membership is composed of about 55 to 60% farmers, and the remaining 40 to 45% are bakers, processors, concession herbalists, which are soap and body care products, as well as liquor vendors. We operate 3 markets, one year-round market on Saturdays. Currently, we're at the Native Sons Hall. And we've got 2 summer seasonal markets, one here in downtown Cumberland, as well as one in downtown Courtenay. We participate in the BC Association of Farmers Markets Nutrition Coupon Program, which provides $27 a week in coupons for young families, pregnant individuals, and seniors across BC to purchase fresh fruit, vegetables, meat, dairy, eggs, and nuts over a 16-week period. Our community partners include the Comox Valley Healthy Families, the Mikisew Métis Association, the Upper Island Women of Native Ancestry, and here in Cumberland, the Cumberland Community School Society. They focus on supporting pregnant individuals, families, and children under 6, as well as seniors. In the Comox Valley, we're able to help close to 200 families. And in the village of Cumberland specifically, this year it has included 34 families consisting of 96 individuals, of which 41 were under the age of 19, 19 individuals that were seniors or elders, and there were 11 who identified themselves as Indigenous. So although this is the first year that the Cumberland Market is part of the BC Association of Farmers Market coupon program. So in previous years, we paralleled the program with funding from various providers. This year, we were able to get on the BC Association of Farmers Market coupon program. And this has been made in part by help and support from First Credit Union, who's been supporting this program in various capacities since 2020 here in Cumberland. Although we don't have the final numbers in yet, We will approximately have $80,000 to $85,000 in coupons that have supported residents of Courtenay, Comox, Cumberland, and in other regions across Vancouver Island. So typically when some of the other markets, say in Campbell River or Port Hardy, close in September, some of those participants do make trips down and they purchase, use the rest of their coupons here at our market. So sometimes we do have 100% plus our redemption rate, and it's because we have other markets come down or other customers come down from other markets. Since 2018, we've also been partnering with Lush Valley on their farm gleaning program. And this program is where it helps to able to increase the impact of local growers by supporting members of the community who lack access to food, to fresh, healthy food. And it supports and promotes the local food production and reducing waste. We don't have the numbers in yet from 2023, but so far we've been able to divert over 5,000 pounds of fresh fruits and vegetables that would have otherwise been composted or thrown out. Once the food is collected, it's used for things like the hot meal program, the Good Food Box, and various other meal kits that have been distributed to over 15 social service agencies across the Comox Valley, including BC Housing's Washington Inn, members of the Comox First Nation, students, and food bank recipients. So a little bit about the Cumberland market. It started in July, and I know I have June up there, that June should read July. It started in July 3rd of 2016 was our first market here in Village Square. We operate from 10 to 1. And in 2019, we won the BC Association of Farmers Markets Farmers Market of the Year for small market. In June of 2020, we increased the amount of time for the market. So we added 2 more weeks to the start. So we were in mid-June. In 2023, we extended again. So instead of going from mid-June till mid-September, we now go from the beginning of June to the end of September. So we added 4 more weeks this year. Approximately 9% of our membership is from the Cumberland and Royston area. And of those 9%, the majority of them actually do come to the Cumberland market and vend. So most of the market's vendors are from the Cumberland Royston area here in Cumberland. And the sales numbers of the customers sales numbers and customers have continually grown since 2016. It also includes our vendors. So I put up a couple of graphs here. So the first one shows the number of vendors since 2016. So since we started, you can see that it has increased. One of the interesting things about the last couple of years is that we've been keeping an average number of about 16 to 19 vendors, whereas in previous years we would have fluctuated quite a bit. But in the last couple of years, we've had a steady number of 16 to 19 vendors each week, which is good progress. The bottom chart shows the vendor gross sales. So this is the direct sales to customers. This is not what the vendor itself makes or the market makes. This is what the gross sales are. So you can see that there has been a steady increase from 2016 to 2021, and then between 2021 and 2023 we've jumped quite a bit, especially between 2022 and 2023. And this number can be reflected in some of the numbers that I'm going to talk about with the economic impact study. It kind of correlates to that, although the number of customers can't be directly correlated to the gross sales because customers do buy more sometimes, and sometimes it means there are more customers, so it's not a direct correlation, but we do notice that our customer numbers are up as well. So this brings me to one of the things that we're here today to talk about is our 2023 economic impact study. So a provincial-wide economic and community impact of the farmers markets in BC survey was completed in 2006 and 2012 in a partnership between the BC Association of Farmers Markets and the University of Northern British Columbia. The Comox Valley Farmers Market had the Saturday and Wednesday markets participate in both of these surveys. And in 2023, the BC Association of Farmers Markets was able to get some additional funding, and in conjunction with University of Northern British Columbia, was able to complete another assessment across the BC as well. And we were able to have not 1, not 2, but all 3 of our markets participate in this survey, which is great because we're able then, once we get the final results, we're able then to compare the results from 2006 and 2012 and see the trends over the last while. We will get some numbers back to take into account inflation, but once we get those numbers back, it'll be interesting to see the trend. The survey used 4 different methods, 4 different parts. They had a flip chart survey, a customer survey, a crowd count survey as well as environmental observations. And this is consistent with 2012 and 2006 as well. So before I get into the exact numbers, I want to describe what an economic and what a community benefits are so we have an idea. The economic benefit is basically the direct benefits, what the customer buys directly from the vendor. And those numbers can be calculated they have a special formula that they use. We also have been collecting data since 2014 on gross sales from all the vendors. And although the numbers aren't exactly the same, they do correspond. We can see the same information, the same trends as they do with doing this formula as well. Then what they do is they take a multiplier effect. So this includes things like another vendor buying seed or other ingredients from a local store. It also takes into account, say, a baker purchasing eggs from a farmer to make their baking. It also takes into account employment and a couple of other factors. So the economic benefits can include the direct, the indirect, and induced effects that can be measured in dollars and output dollars. And it depends on what survey you look at. They have different multiplier effects. Some use a 0.5 all the way up to 3. In this survey, they have used a 1.5, and that's a very conservative estimate, but it's also the same that they did in 2006 and in 2012. The community benefits are the spillover effect that the Comox Valley Farmers Market has on the neighboring businesses. So a good example, if a customer went to the Cumberland Farmers Market and bought a bunch of vegetables and eggs and meat, and then hopped over to seeds, bought some flour, and then maybe they were meeting a friend, they went to get some coffee at Laneway, or maybe they went to go for a beer at Cumberland Brewing, or perhaps they went across the street and they got some breakfast. There's a number of different things that they could do. So that is the spillover effect, what they would do when they went to the farmers market, just not to the farmers market, they went to the other local businesses as well. They can also use the multiplier effect on this one, the same 1.5, to get a better idea of what the annual economic impact is as well. So when we take all of this into consideration, we have preliminary results. So these results that I'm showing you right now are the combined results of the Saturday, the Sunday, and the Wednesday market. So the combined estimated economic and community benefit of the Comox Valley Farmers Market on the local economy is approximately $9 million. That's $9 million annually, and it's only been increasing. There's an estimated number of customers for the market on assessment day was over 4,000. We've got 19% that participated were tourists or day trippers. Depending on what market, there was a variety of different spending amounts. And 39% of all respondents visit the farmers market either regularly or frequently. So let's take a look. We'll zero in on here in Cumberland. So in Cumberland, the economic benefit was $268,000. The community benefit was $332,600 for a total benefit of $600,600 annually. Some of the highlights: the estimated number of market customers was over 500. 70 visitors participated in the study, and the average spending was $27.05. 37% of the respondents visited the market either regularly or frequently. And this number here I find interesting. 44% of the survey respondents stated that they started shopping at the market this year in 2023. So that kind of corresponds with the chart that I showed a few slides back to show the difference between 2022, our direct sales from 2022 and 2023. So almost 50% started shopping this year. And 24% have been shopping since 2016, which is still a great number. We've got a lot of regulars that come to the market. Where do these customers live? As expected, 41% are from right here in Cumberland. There's a combined 24% that are from the rest of the Comox Valley, so Comox and Courtenay and the CVRD and the SRD. 14% say that they were from Vancouver Island outside of the Comox Valley Regional District and Strathcona Regional District. And 20% were visitors, were tourists. So that kind of gives you an idea of where things are as far as that. So this, again, these numbers are preliminary. We're waiting for the final reports to come back. There are still a few more surveys to come in. When we do get the final report back, we'll be able to see how the Comox Valley Farmers Market in general, and specifically with the Cumberland market, compared to the rest of the markets in British Columbia, other small markets as well. So we'll have a good idea. We'll also be able to compare 2006 and 2012 numbers and see how the trends are as well and how much we've grown over the years. So with that, I just wanted to say thank you, that we are grateful to be in the Village of Cumberland. We want to thank Mayor, Council, and staff for their continued support. We've been here since 2016, and you can see that the numbers have only improved, and that's greatly appreciated that we have your support for that. That has made a big difference in that. Village Square has been the perfect location for the market. And although there's been a few bumps in the road this year, a few little hiccups here and there, we do appreciate everything that goes on to maintaining Village Square, including the trimming of the trees, the mowing the grass, the pumping out, cleaning, and restocking of the porta potty, as well as the access to water and power. That makes a big difference to running the market, and we think it's the perfect spot to have our little market there in Cumberland. So we're looking forward to the continued support as we continue to grow this market in many years to come.
Thank
That's
you
it.
so much. $9 million. That's pretty amazing.
It is.
Questions, comments? Councillor Berkey?
Just to your last point there, is there anything more that would improve that location for you, or is it, or you mentioned you had a few hiccups, is there something else that might make it smoother for you at the moment?
I think having the continued support and making sure that we had issues with the porta potty as far as cost-wise and having it maintained regularly. There's multiple people that use it, but it seemed that, and I know that we run the market on Saturday, so it's hard to, or sorry, Sunday.
yeah.
It's hard to get cleaning right away, but there are lots of things that happen. I think with the frequency and to which it was cleaned before meant that with the stuff that was happening on Thursday plus everything else, by the time I got to Sunday, there was no toilet paper, no hand sanitizer, and it was kind of dirty in there. So just making sure that we have regular maintenance of that, I think is great. We have the electrical and water. We're hoping that eventually we can expand the market. That is our hope. We have had the crafters come with the market, and we're hoping to continue that again. That worked out really well. They had a good time. The sales went well. I think the market overall went well. So hopefully if we can expand, we can have I'm not sure if there are electrical places outside of that one spot in Village Square, but to have more access to electrical would be also a great thing to help us grow. With more and more meat vendors wanting to come, we need to have electrical for the freezers so that they can stay at a constant temperature. It's now a requirement of VIHA. Any new vendors are going to have any kind of mechanical refrigeration will be required, so whether it's a freezer or a fridge, and that requires, it's not a significant use of electricity, but in order to keep those cold, we do have to have some electrical outlets available.
Thank you very much. And I enjoyed your economic analysis there. That's very insightful.
Thanks. Councillor Kettler.
Yeah, thanks, Twyla. It's really awesome to see the growth, and I think most Cumberlanders consider it like an amenity now. It's kind of an expected thing, and maybe that's why there's such a jump. I don't know, but I was going to ask, did you do any extra advertising between 2021 and this year that would have accounted for the increased numbers of new customers?
No, actually, we did less advertising. Yeah, we didn't do as much advertising as we did. I think it's just becoming more well known. And I noticed from 2016 all the way to now, there's definitely a lot more activity happening in downtown Cumberland on Sundays. It's a very active area. I think we've got a lot of tourists. 20% were tourists. And when we did the report, it was July 1st, so there was a lot of things happening. So the survey does take into effect things like weather, other activities that are happening in there, because when you have other things like Canada Day, people are off doing other things. So the results that we got on the day of the survey don't necessarily reflect the market as a whole, because there are other things going on that will take people away. So in their calculations, they do take these things into consideration. So they'll ask us what our market was on a normal day. And then as we have different events, is this lower or higher than what your normal day is? So then they can kind of level everything out. So I think that's one of the things that we have to take into consideration as well. And yeah, less advertising, but I think people are really enjoying it. It's like you said, it's becoming a staple, and people are really, they know it's there.
Yeah, I think that the location is really obviously important, right? It's so
Yeah.
central, and just passersby will notice it. So I think that's important to keep it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
No questions. Just
Anybody
thanks for
else?
coming. It's great to hear and see the success.
Thanks.
Continued success. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, no, thank you. I love the farmers market.
Awesome.
It's a nice place to spend a Sunday. The $600,000 in benefit, was that before or after the multiplier?
That was after those were the final numbers.
Okay, so that's the final.
Or the preliminary numbers, not the final numbers, but the
Okay.
preliminary numbers.
So that was not, so the community benefit was
32,600,
32, yeah.
yeah.
You really noticed, like I really noticed when the market ended, the lowering of traffic on Sunday. It really does drive a lot of traffic in the village. So appreciate that. Also appreciate the extending of the season. I think that's really helped to make it more successful for the vendors and for Cumberland to just expect that it's there through the summer and the good weather days. Summer now extending into September or even December, you know. And also just your expansion of the coupon program to those, you know, we started with just healthy families, and you're reaching so many more diverse people now with those extra partners. So that's awesome. And obviously the partnership with CCSS is really great.
And we're looking
So-
to expand the coupon program as well. We're seeking
Nice.
additional funding to expand it because we know that like everywhere else, the demand is higher than what we have availability for. So we're definitely looking at extending it, as well as extending the time of frame of the market as well. Maybe potentially, it hasn't been confirmed yet, but maybe potentially extending it to Thanksgiving. So we extend it a little bit more. We
Nice.
have the demand from the customers and the vendors as well.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And once we have the final report, I will make sure that you guys get a copy as well so that you can have that.
Sweet. Thank you so much
Thank you very
for coming.
much.
All right, we need a motion to receive that delegation, I believe.
Move receipt.
Thank you. Thank you. And all in favor? Thank you. And now we have Lake Park Annual Report. Are you coming up first, Ryan, or just Jen? You want to do the intro?
Well, I wasn't going to say anything that Jen isn't going to. I was just going to tell you who she is, which you know already. So it's up to
Come
you
on
if you
up,
want
Jen.
to say that.
You're welcome to sit or stand, whatever you like. Thanks, Ryan. Leave it to the
Okay.
professional.
Good evening,
Streamlining.
Mayor and
That's right.
Council and staff. Thank you for having me. My name is Genevieve. I'm the Executive Director of Lake Park Society. We did change our name to Lake Park Society maybe about last year, trying to make it a little simpler, but I see on the agenda we're still Cumberland Lake Wilderness Society, which is our previous name, so maybe we only made things more complicated. I don't know.
We'll get there.
We'll get there, yeah. Down button, okay. So yeah, speaking of being confused, I wanted to start by just clarifying the relationship between the Village of Cumberland and Lake Park Society, because especially for anyone watching from home, it's a bit of a complicated relationship. So Cumberland Lake Park, as you know, is a municipal park. It's owned by the Village of Cumberland. In fact, if you look at old documents, you'll actually see it referred to sometimes as Cumberland's '(S) Lake Park, to show that Cumberland does indeed own the park, not that the lake is called Cumberland Lake. So in 2014, the village undertook this master plan process with a lot of community input, and you can see the vision statement and goals laid out that are still very relevant today. And then following that master planning process, the village put a call out for an operator for the campground and park. And in response to that call, Lake Park Society, a group of residents in Cumberland created a nonprofit that's now called Lake Park Society. And they were successful in getting the contract with the Village of Cumberland. So it's been the same nonprofit that has now managed the campground and park for the last 9 years. And so Cumberland Lake Wilderness Society, Lake Park Society, it's the same nonprofit, although the people and the name have changed over time. Yeah, so essentially it's a community park. It's run by a community nonprofit as a social enterprise, and all the revenues go back into the park or back into programs for the benefit of the community. Lake Park Society, we are an independent nonprofit. Our mission is to create wonder and connection through outdoor experiences. Our values include community well-being, community building, accessibility and inclusion, financial, physical, social. And yeah, our mission and our values really overlap greatly with the Village of Cumberland master plan for the park. And so that's why we have a really great partnership and collaboration. There's a lot of overlap in our goals. There's 3 pillars through which we really see our work, and the first is running the campground and park, the second is offering outdoor education, and the third is providing community events. And just to further clarify that relationship, it's our contractual obligation to the village to manage the campground and park. And then the other 2 pillars are things that we do because they fulfill our mission, that are beyond our obligations to the village. So starting with the campground, I'm going to say what I say every year. The popularity of camping continues to increase. It has increased over the last 10 years, and that's reflected in the Cumberland campground. It seems to be COVID-proof and recession-proof, and it's a great business for the village to have invested in. Occupancy was 77% this year, average occupancy up from 76% last year. So it's just slowly climbing. And July and August were sold out as always. So as anywhere in North America, now you really need to plan ahead if you want to go camping. And as a result, we were able to give over $40,000 in dividends to the village as part of our contract.
Yay.
We also manage many amenities at Lake Park. We subcontract out the concession to a concession operator, Anita. She's been doing it for the last several years. We rent paddleboards and kayaks. We manage the boat launch. And we manage the day use area. We're also lucky to have an amazing group of volunteers who maintain the trails and the rock climbing areas for everyone. We need a pretty big group of staff to manage all of this, so we are really proud to employ local high school students to help us manage the park. And this year we actually had 2 of these guys as assistant manager and manager at the campground, so it's really great to see students moving up into management positions. Here's a breakdown of paying park and campground visitors, so whether they're renting a kayak or paying for a campsite or participating in a summer camp. Here's the breakdown this year. Almost half of the users are from the Comox Valley, and if we dig into that further, we can see the majority of users are from Courtenay, but we have users from across the Comox Valley using the park, which we already know, which leads to some challenges. The reason people from across the Comox Valley and beyond are using Lake Park so extensively is because it is one of the only sanctioned and easily accessible places for freshwater recreation in the Comox Valley. And with population growth, tourism, hotter summers, the number of users keeps growing, and the park is over capacity pretty much every weekend in the summer now. So over the last few years, we've had to quadruple the number of septic pump outs and triple the number of dumpsters to hold all the garbage. So the village and the society, I know we're all really aware of this issue. The village this year funded a parking management study, and we're implementing the recommendations of that. And then on a more strategic level, back to the ground level as well. As usual, I'm asking for your continued support in the funding of a bylaw or safety officer on weekends. I was just at the Watershed Advisory Group this morning, and the CVRD hires private security. That might be a more cost-effective option. I'm not sure. And then from a bigger picture strategic view, I again ask you to consider advocating for more sanctioned freshwater recreation elsewhere in the Comox Valley through the Regional Park Service, perhaps on Wolf Lake, perhaps on the other side of Comox Lake, just to spread out the demand for freshwater recreation.
You mean the Courtenay side?
Yeah.
Okay.
I talked to Fish and Game. They do have land they want to sell.
Yep.
Ah, interesting.
Wow. There we go.
Yeah.
Second bolt ramp.
Capital projects. Lake Park Society invests in capital projects that are in line with our mission that also overlap with the village's goals. Again, it's not an obligation on our part. It's just if there's something that fits our mission that we want to invest in, then we do. So in the past, we've put a new roof on the picnic shelter. We've created some walk-in campsites with support from ICE funding. And this winter, we're doing a lot of capital projects. We're currently installing 5 sleeping barrels on the road towards the group site. And that is with generous support of the BC Destination Development Fund. We received $203,000 from them. They also gave UROC money, so Cumberland's got a lot of money from them, which is amazing. And Island Coastal Economic Trust gave us just over $33,000. And this project was first mentioned in the Cumberland Lake Master Plan in 2014. It was recommended in the 2018 Economic Development Strategy. Basically, it's going to provide like a really unique visitor experience, respond to camper preferences for different styles of camping, extend the camping season, expand tourist accommodation, and diversify revenue streams. That project we are also investing about $45,000 in to complete. Paddle sports rental storage. We don't have a permanent place to store our kayaks and stand-up paddleboards, so this winter we are going to create a permanent place and invest $41,000 in that project. And finally, we are finally going to do our shoreline restoration with Play Elements project. This will go forward hopefully in January. We have someone lined up to do it. It previously had more play elements in it, but the permitting that would be required for the initial design that we wanted just became cost prohibitive with the amount of professional fees we were going to have to pay to get the permits that we needed. So we made it more of a revegetation project with some natural play elements so that we could actually get it done. This project is about $46,000, which we're funding with support from all our amazing sponsors who are wondering what happened to their money. Thank you. Also, Cumberland Rotary donated $5,000, and then a lot of local businesses and individuals donated money. So we have about $16,000 in donations to get that project done. Outdoor education is the second pillar through which we work to achieve our mission and lean into our values. All of our programs are based on the First Peoples principles of learning with a focus on gratitude and respect, and all content, Indigenous content, is shared with permission from Comox First Nation. We have two main themes. We have a water theme where we take participants out in the big canoes and we talk about the Comox Valley watershed. We go through the history of, dinosaurs, Ice Age, the arrival of the Pentlatch people, history of resource extraction and colonialism, and then stories of hope, conservation, and resilience in the watershed. And we have a forest theme where participants engage all their senses and learn about forest biodiversity and ecology. School programs is a really big part of what we do. Through the school programs, we're able to make sure every single child in the Comox Valley gets to participate in a full-day outdoor education experience. So we do that by going through the schools, and we get every single grade 3 or split grade 3 class in the Comox Valley into our Water Keepers program. The program costs us about $650, and we offer it to classes for $200, and we'll waive that if that's a financial barrier for classes to participate. We have a number of other school programs as well. We do specialty programs. We bring out Nala Adsi Alternative School. We bring out homeschool learners. And this is a picture of the Lake Trail Life Skills program that's come out for the last 2 years. We have hundreds of testimonials from teachers, and it's really through the testimonials that you get to really feel the impact of these programs. The testimonials speak to the mental health well-being aspect of the program. They speak to the curricular connections. This is from the teacher that teaches the life skills program. So pretty cool. Only one of the 11 students had ever even been in a canoe before, so it's pretty special. We offer a variety of summer camps. We are really proud to This is the second year we've offered Camp Kin. It's a summer camp for queer, questioning, and curious youth. And it's led by instructors with lived experience, and we bring in a variety of guest speakers as well. And we were able to offer this camp with a whole bunch of different subsidies because we got a grant from the North Island Queers and Allies nonprofit. And so we're really excited about that camp. It really leans into our value of inclusion, making sure that everyone feels welcome in the outdoors. And we offer free watershed canoe tours twice a week, all summer, and free kids forest programs, 2 to 3 a week as well. And finally, community events is the third pillar through which we work to achieve our mission. And community events are really just about getting people outside and connecting, meeting people maybe outside of their regular social group. We have movie nights every Saturday and music nights every Friday night. And then, of course, there's a whole bunch of other local organizations that offer outdoor ed programs, services, and community events at Lake Park. So thank you very much. Thank you for all your support. This is really amazing collaboration of the village and a nonprofit together, and that's why it's been so successful. So thanks.
Thank you for all your hard work out there. Council, questions, comments? Councillor Sullivan?
Yeah, thanks, Genevieve. So I have an interesting concept. So we're talking about, first of all, awesome. The collaboration, I agree, is the best, one of the best things that we've done since I've been on council. Increasing revenue streams. What do you think about having van lifers there over the winter? What would have to happen to be able to open up something like that?
The biggest challenge is water. So the water pipes are not buried deep enough, so they freeze over the winter. So there's
That's
no
the
running.
only barrier that you see?
It's the largest barrier. There's no running water. Yeah, and also it's our own water system.
Overcomable. But
It's well water.
Right.
So when we run it during the summer, it needs to be tested. We have staff that test it every morning, and then the village also oversees it every day. So it's a bit of an expense in terms of managing the water on a daily basis as well. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. Just noticing the need for an area like that, so
Yeah.
maybe that's something we can put some energy towards.
Yeah.
Just excellent. Thank you. I agree. This is probably one of the best collaborations that we do, and thank you for all your hard work with it. I notice you have a lot of children's programs. Is there any interest or uptake from the seniors? Because I mean, I know that canoe tour is just absolutely fantastic. So I was just wondering if any of these seniors organizations in the valley have reached out at any point.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, so on our strategic priorities, our next move is to take everything we've done and make it as physically accessible as possible. So we're trying to meet with Power to Be to figure out how they get people with like more physical challenges into those canoes, because they have the same kind of canoes. And we saw I don't know if you've seen the CBC, like there's a seniors home in northern BC that goes out in the Voyager, the exact same canoes that we have. So we want to get Cumberland Lodge
Yeah.
in those canoes for sure. We just have to figure out how to do it without
Capsizing.
dropping anyone in the water. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
awesome. Anybody else?
Thank you very much. I'm just hoping that if Courtney does try and expand out to the other side of the lake or something, that they look at this model as one to try and replicate, because it's been amazing. Thank you.
I guess just about the parking. So, did you say that report is coming back soon, or?
The report hasn't come back yet. It's done, I think.
Yeah, it is done. We are, I'm still communicating with the consultant on some of the aspects of it, but yeah, we can bring it forward early in the new year.
Awesome.
And just wondering what that encompassed. I can't really remember what we had directed with that report. Does it involve the boat launch area?
Yeah,
Or the road?
Parking around the boat launch area, congestion of parking on Comox Lake Road adjacent to the park. The kind of unofficial parking lots on the north side of Comox Lake Road. Possible delineation of parking spaces within the parking lots in the park itself.
Yeah.
Did I miss anything, Jen?
Yeah. No, there's some good ideas in the report, for sure.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what my next question was like. Are you feeling like this is going to be helpful and actionable to resolve
Yeah.
some of the issues there?
Yeah, I think. Did the webcam get put in the budget?
I think so,
Okay.
yes.
So yeah, there's the idea of getting a webcam out there so people can see both the boat launch and the back parking lot, so they can see how full it is, so they can make that decision before
of
they
time,
come in the
yeah.
first place.
Great.
There's also some really interesting ideas about adding hard edging, like concrete no posts along the one side of the road so people cannot park their trailers and block the road. So we actually maintain that access and exit for emergency vehicles. So
Makes sense.
basically forcing people not to park illegally
Yeah.
by removing that option.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. And thanks for all your work.
Thank you. Yes, just appreciating again the partnership and all your work out there. Particularly, I really love the fact that you're employing Cumberland kids out there, and they're getting their first job, and they're moving through that job into management positions. Like, I remember a time when there were no jobs for kids in Cumberland, and I just think that the number of opportunities now is so great, and what a great first job. And then the school programs are, yeah, like you're basically hitting all the kids, all the levels with different things, which is great. And I'm also questioning the expansion of the season. Like, I feel like we could easily expand through October, even if there was feasibility for that. Anyway, a future conversation. Possibly. Yeah, I just think that with the demand,
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for being here and for all your work out there. Can I have a motion to receive that delegation, please?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, Regional Track and Field Services. Ryan?
Thank you. So, as you know, this report is all about looking at whether the village would like to rejoin the Comox Valley Regional Track and Field Service. The service provides funding for the maintenance and capital costs of the all-weather track at Vanier, the all-weather field, the track, as well as the Vanier and Highland fields. Significantly, as you all know, the service will also fund the new all-weather field that's proposed to be built at Vanier in 2024. So the background, Cumberland was a participant in the service initially, but we left in 2001. The regional sports field study, which we just completed earlier this year, it recommended inviting Cumberland back into the service, and of course the CVRD did extend that invite in September of this year. Last time we were up here, council asked us to provide more information at the staff level around the financials and the details of joining the service. And so, hopefully I've done that with the report with a lot of help from our CFO. So the expected cost to the village to join the service would be $86,800 in 2025, $98,400 per year from 2026 through 2028, and then it would drop back down to just over $30,000 a year in 2029. And that's once that 5-year borrowing agreement for the new field has been paid off. And that 5-year borrowing, of course, has been approved by the Comox Valley Recreation Commission last week. So at its peak, at that $98,000 level, that equates to about $52 per $800,000 of assessed value for Cumberland taxpayers. So obviously not an insignificant cost, but joining also is not without its benefits. So a few potential benefits. One is just strengthens our regional partnerships. It's in alignment with council's strategic priorities. We would be participating in a service from which Cumberland residents do benefit. The Recreation Commission aims to identify amenities that are needed to improve user experience at a variety of fields throughout the Comox Valley. And so if Cumberland were a member of the service, Cumberland Fields could be considered in that process. And then finally, we don't know exactly what the consequences might be of Cumberland not joining the service. I mean, if we look at similar situations that have happened in other communities, it could be something like Cumberland residents are charged a user fee when they not necessarily use a field, but when they join an organization that uses the field. Again, we don't know that would happen, but that is something that has happened in other jurisdictions. And yeah, it could get kind of messy. Another potential implication that I mentioned in the report is just around Cumberland would be able to participate in a regional joint field allocation process, which is what my next report is going to be about. And since I wrote the report, I have received clarification that Cumberland not joining the service wouldn't prevent us from taking the first step in that process, which is the investigation and seeing what it would look like. It's more of an unknown what it would look like when and if that service is actually rolled out. Yeah, and I'll maybe leave it there for now and open it up to questions.
Thank you. I think we might have some. Who wants to go first?
Sure. I'll jump in
Counselor.
here.
Pulling numbers. All right, numbers.
This guy go first, yeah.
Yeah, this is just a lot of money. It's a lot of money for, I don't know, for me, I'm probably going to be voting no on this. I'll put that out right out front. I don't think we should be spending $50 a household on a giant plastic field that when there are so many other needs in the community. For me, this is a nice to have rather than a need to have. So yeah, I'd rather see this money spent, the CVRD prioritize other things like affordable housing and working on the underhoused issues. Normally I'm completely in favor of regional group collective ideas, but like I say, I think this one just goes against a number of things that I feel are more important.
Anybody else?
I was in at $534 per home, not $53 per home. Yeah, I agree with Councillor Therrien as well. It's nice to have regional things, but this is definitely not one that I support.
Councillor Brecky?
This isn't really funded to, there's no reserve or anything like that for us to dip into. This comes straight out of a tax increase. That's correct? Yeah,
Yeah, joining the service would mean CVRD requisition would increase by that amount, and that would be taxed
Right.
directly to resident.
Again, at a much lower number, I was in agreement with it. I think it's important to have regional partnerships. I think perhaps the user fee is the way to go if you are using that particular feature. It's just we've shot down a lot of other things that to me seem a lot more important. So I'm in agreement with two other councillors. So.
Can I add one thing to that quickly? Just on the user fee idea. I would hate to see them start doing that, seeing as how many people ride trails here in Cumberland without paying any user fees.
Councillor
Coming to the
Kentler?
lake, just talked about.
Yeah, well, I think, as far as regional partnerships go, we have joined two new services in the last year, the emergency service and the new parks and trails service. So I don't think that I think that's clear that we are wanting to work together as a region. This is a very expensive capital project, and this is actually the least expensive capital project coming out of regional recreation plans. So I'm really fearful seeing these numbers, at $5.7 million track and field. Well, then there's the $12 to $15 million ice rink. And then there's another, I don't know, like $30 million pool, something. So, so it's a lot. And we are part of the other services for ice and pool. We are a member, and we do pay into those, and we are just one vote. The Rec Commission does seem pretty intent on following through with some of these big capital projects. So it's very likely that we would get outvoted on the function that we already participate in for the pool and ice rink. So those costs are likely
Those are coming.
coming. So now we go back to this track and field service, and yeah, like most of you said, I think that at the $11,000 per year requisition, which equated to $5 per household, then that seems like something reasonable. We know that we do have lots of kids that use the field. But at many times that, like, I think it is almost like $500,000 in 5 years that the village would have to come up with. That's significant. That I don't know where. well, where we would do that is we would, it would come off, people's taxes. So that's a difficult time to be implementing something that isn't a necessity. Like many of you said, it's a nice to have. And then at the end of those 5 years, it's saying that it drops back down, but we have another turf field that needs replacement. Within that time period, I think it would probably just remain at that level to replace the next field, and then it's only a 10-year lifespan on the new one that we got. So I think it would just kind of continue on, going back and forth with replacement for that as well. So it is not too difficult a choice, I think, to say no, that we don't want this new field, the new turf field, but I think we should somehow participate in the maintenance of the old field and the other fields that we have been using and will continue to use. So I don't know what that looks like, but I think we should probably offer something for the maintenance.
Michelle had mentioned there was a different way that we could do this.
Yeah, and I
Talked about this.
don't know, Annie, if you have anything to add about other options. The direction I'm thinking we should go is to give our feedback to the CVRD to say we just can't afford this. Our 1% tax increase is only $39,000, so that's like I can't do the math. 3.
0.5%.
Yeah, for just this one piece of that one service out of 200 services. So on top of our own tax increases. So, but there is a conversation happening about leftover growing communities funds at the CVRD. And I'm not sure when that conversation is exactly happening, but there's, I think, 1.2 million left in their growing communities, and that could go towards this project. Or, I'm not sure they can hold on to it for the ice rinks. But so if the price came down, we could reconsider, or we could make some other arrangement. But I think the feedback we want to give is that we understand that we are participating in using the fields, and we want to participate in the service, but we just can't afford this level of cost to our taxpayers. So, yeah, I don't know what staff needs in terms. Do you want that in a motion, or like, how do you want to do that?
So would that be would that look like a motion to direct staff to work with the CVRD to determine an appropriate contract for service for the maintenance of the existing turf field, or however it's worded?
Yeah, in that original $11,000 range that they first came when they first presented here was the
Yeah, and
number.
yeah, and I think the other thing that I wanted to add was, had we been asked to join the service prior to the field study, And we could have had input to the artificial turf conversation at that point. I'm sure you were there adding your voice, but without a vote, it's,
Yeah, I mean, those conversations took place. We talked about regional equity, and, you know, it still ended up, you know, at Vanier, even though there was other places, and you know,
yeah.
having it in Cumberland was never on the table, so that wasn't part of the conversation, but at least having it on this side of the river so that people wouldn't have to be using the bridge and stuff like that. That was part of the conversation, but that we're just outvoted in that area. So
I do have a question. Is it possible to offer reciprocal or in-kind field time? I mean, we have a beautiful pitch right out in the middle of the village here. Is that something we can do in lieu of cash contribution like this, or would that just add too much wear and tear?
I mean, it's certainly something that I can add to the conversation. I don't think there's anything, nothing that I can see off the top of my head that would stop us from doing it at an operational level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of part of the next report, though, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it could be. That's a good point.
And I think that,
Currently.
yeah, the intent with the artificial field is to extend the season. So that's why the artificial turf and not resurfacing existing fields or maintaining existing fields. So, yeah. Did you have something?
So are you considering doing a motion to direct staff to come back with more information around maybe potential contract for service? Or
Yeah, I think we would want to say a few things. One, that because we weren't part of the conversation around the artificial turf, and there's some concern around the turf itself, and the implications of the plastic. And then also, we just can't afford it. But we do want to play. So if the requisition was lowered by the growing communities, it could come back in that way for another. Do we want to join now at this other level, knowing that in 5 years, you know, we'd be back in the same position, having to, or in 10 years, or however, whichever field needs to be done first. Yeah, and then if we can't do that, we would work towards a contract, I guess.
Even,
Yeah.
I just want to point out, even if they did put the $1 million of growing community funds towards it, it would likely still, that's about 20%, so it would likely come in.
Still over
still
30 bucks.
North of $40.
Yeah, it's still going to be too much.
We could almost pay each child from Cumberland's extra fee with less money.
Definitely, yeah.
There's an idea.
And again, there's no talk of an extra fee or what that fee might be if it's there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd hope we wouldn't get into anything like that. as
Well, it
mentioned
wouldn't
before.
be, and to be clear, that wouldn't be the CVRD doing that. That would be the user
Yeah,
group. So all the field user groups, which are largely nonprofits, I understand. Yeah. So was that, do you want somebody to make that motion, Rachel?
yes, please. I have from
Yep.
earlier.
I see the alternatives here.
Okay, are you all right?
Can I just
Go for it.
ahead? I'd like to move that council not participate in the Comox Valley Track and Field Service, and that council direct staff to work with the CVRD to determine an appropriate contract for service for the Comox Valley Track and Field Service for the first and further years, with the option to participate in the service in a year following the contract for services.
Thank you. Seconder, thank you. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, and sports field allocation. Do we know if we get to do this if we don't join the service? We don't know.
Well, yeah.
Let's
we
have
don't
the
know. We don't know.
conversation anyway.
So, the Regional Sport Field Study completed earlier this year. Among its recommendations were two, the first being, well, the two relevant to this report. First being that regional partners develop a new approach for sport field bookings and allocations based around clear standards of play. And the other one is that we create a more streamlined and cohesive sport field system through aligning policies and shifting the booking function to a single entity. So a joint field allocation policy, if it were in place, it would likely align with Sport for Life's recommendation that public recreation assets be allocated based on a clear rationale that supports physical literacy and long-term development rather than first come, first serve or historical access, that kind of thing. The Cumberland fields that would likely be part of that service would be obviously the sport field at Village Park, as well as the SD 71 fields at Cumberland Community School. At the staff level, everyone's in agreement that the City of Courtenay would be best positioned to take on that central booking role, just because they have the most number of fields that they're already programming. They do the programming for a lot of SD 71 schools. They've got the staffing resources. So to that end, they've already, they've already received or have agreed to or receive a $35,000 recreation grant from the CVRD to hire a consultant, and that's just to investigate how this would all work and provide more details. So the work on that's expected to begin early in 2024, and staff would bring any of the outcomes or recommendations from that report back to council for consideration. So yeah, to be clear, there's no financial ask at this point. Our partners are just seeking our support to play along with the investigation process. And Courtenay and Comox councils have already passed a similar motion. I don't know much in the way of detail much in the way of the details of how that service would look like, how it would roll out, but that's part of what this investigation is all about. So should council not be, should Cumberland not be part of the regional track and field service? Like I think I said earlier, there's nothing stopping us from participating in this investigation part of it. The unknown is what it looks like if and when it's actually rolled out. And unfortunately I can't provide any answers for that. But
Thanks, Ryan. Questions? Go ahead, Councillor Therrien.
I'm happy to again, I do like regional cooperation most of the time. I'm happy to support investigating what this would look like. My concerns, and hopefully you would take them to these meetings, would be for some of our historical uses. That field does get heavily used in the summer by some of our big events, BC Bike Race, MOMAR, Cumberland
Wild.
Etc. There's a number of uses that I would like to see continue on because they are important to the village.
yeah, and that has come up in these preliminary conversations. We're aware that that's something that needs to be considered.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome, thanks. Anybody else?
Sorry.
I was just wondering if, so it says that the Rec Commission has granted the $35,000 to fund the work. Is that coming from the field service?
That came from a recreation grant.
From the grant service. So we have a recreation grant service, that's a separate service.
That
right?
yes, that we participate in. It's function. I think I want to say function 600.
Yes.
Function 600.
Yeah.
Recreation grant services.
Okay. So that's good because not being part of the field service won't affect that part. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I checked in the conversation around whether we could do one without the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks for that.
Awesome. Okay, so there's a recommendation there.
Where is it here?
Move the council direct staff to initiate work with the City of Courtenay and other regional partners to develop a new sports field allocation policy and centralized booking function for the Comox Valley and to report back with recommendations.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? And that is carried. All right, thanks, Ryan. Home Energy Navigator Program. Is that you? Nope, it's Courtney. Come on up, Courtney.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So the purpose of this report is to seek council direction on joining the Regional Home Energy Navigator Program. The HEN for short, program provides homeowners with comprehensive wraparound guidance and support services from start to finish for home energy retrofit projects, with an emphasis on converting from fossil fuel to electric heating and cooling systems. All local governments in the CVRD have been invited by the regional district to join this program so that the program can be made available to residents in each municipality as well as the electoral areas. The HEN program would be administered by City Green Solutions, a nonprofit under contract with the regional district. And if the village decides to join, it can be seamlessly integrated into the launch in January of 2024. So this program is designed to provide homeowners with guidance and support for their retrofit projects. And there's a, based on experience in other jurisdictions, such as the Capital Regional District, City of Vancouver, and Regional District of Nanaimo, where this HEN program has already been operating, there's an average of about 5.5 hours of support needed per home, with an average cost to the municipality of $425 per home. And the report includes a chart that is a breakdown of that cost and the average hours. You may be curious to know, if someone begins the program, do they complete it? And data so far in the Capital Regional District is that about 20 to 25% begin but don't complete. This represents, in some cases, this is people who were curious at first, but it wasn't what they thought it was going to be. Or they were curious at first and they realized that they didn't think they needed the help. They were going to go ahead and do these retrofits themselves anyway. City Green is working to reduce the attrition, but as it's a real focus on education, some attrition is always to be expected in that process. So for public engagement, the advertising and promotion is very important to get people involved in the program. And the CVRD is their budget, they're proposing they will be using their budget to fund communications for the entire region. Initially, we had thought part of each municipality's budget needed to go towards communications, but that isn't the case. So Cumberland's full budget could go directly to more participants. So how many would that be? Well, the staff is recommending $12,500 from the Local Government Climate Action Program funds for the village be allocated to this program. That would allow about 29 households to participate in 2024. The CVRD and City of Courtenay, so City of Courtenay has agreed to participate already, and they're each allocating $50,000 for 2024. Still, I think, and the minimum recommended amount to participate by City Green with experience in the program is $10,000. So we're above that, and I think it makes sense for our population and for the first year of a pilot project. Let's see. And this program could have a significant impact on reducing our greenhouse gas emissions. Buildings are the second largest source of emissions in the Comox Valley, second only to transportation, which we have less control over. And space and water heating make up about 85% of residential greenhouse gas emissions. So accelerating the use of clean energy is critical to making important progress in reducing our emissions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Questions, Councillor Berkey?
I was just wondering, there was one line in the report there about, I'm trying to bring it up here, making it accessible to underserved populations. One of the things I do see, especially with a lot of the older houses here in Cumberland, there are people on fixed incomes that would benefit from this. Is there any preference for streamlining it for those folks?
Or how would we even do that?
Well, just if you have a pool of people coming in, and if,
Yeah.
I think it would be a simple question of asking if you are on a fixed income and maybe making those people a little bit of a priority, since you're not, there's a limited amount. I see the case where somebody comes in, buys an old house, participates in the program, but they can easily afford to retrofit their house versus somebody who's currently living in a drafty old house and maybe benefiting from it.
Yeah, that's a good question. And I do know that City Green is would try and tailor their communication in a way that it's accessible and reaches people who really need it. But in terms of criteria for joining the program, I don't believe there is an income threshold, for example, or another way of kind of saving spots for certain groups rather than others.
Yeah. Okay. It's just a question.
Anybody else? Councillor Tyrion?
And am I right in this is simply a concierge service? It helps you to access the grant funding that's out there? Is that the general idea of it? Is it's a way to make sure that you're getting all of the eligible grants you can? And to help you find the right people to do energy assessments locally and
Yeah.
installers, et cetera?
Yeah, that's correct. It's more of a concierge. So Clean BC, the province, offers some assistance of this sort, but it's really limited to just making sure you're aware of what rebates are out there. And the way that this concierge program is different is it helps with review of quotes, for example, and really what sets us apart is they want the participants to understand that they need to consider their entire home. So, for example, someone might want to switch to a heat pump from another source of heat, and they install the heat pump, maybe they have a rebate for it, and it isn't performing like they thought it would. But the reason could be because they have a very leaky house, and no one told them that if you don't also seal up your windows, you're probably not going to have much of a benefit. And so that's an example that City Green gave of the kind of service that they provide.
And so at the end of the day, though, the homeowner is on the hook for the costs of the retrofit and the sealing of the house and all of the other.
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay. So there's no. Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I just think it's great. It aligns with the village's values, climate action and trying to lower our greenhouse gases as a community, and it'll also help people probably heat their homes as well. So I think it's a great program. Thanks.
Yeah, having navigated a Greener Homes grant, which is one of the easier ones to navigate, I will tell you that it's not easy, and I think this program would go really a long way to helping people get through that process, because I think you can start to look and then you get frustrated, you lose the application, you can't figure out why the application won't go in, you don't understand what the problem is, and so you just give up. So I think this actually would be very helpful, and it's not a huge amount of investment for us. When my question is, are LG CAP funds, do they need to be spent this year?
They need to be spent by March of 2024.
Okay. Alrighty.
2025.
2025.
March of 2025.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, there's a recommendation there.
I'll move the council allocate $12,500 from the local government climate action program funding to participate in the Home Energy Navigator program in collaboration with the Comox Valley Regional Districts, Comox First Nation, and City of Courtenay.
Seconder.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Japanese Legacies Heritage Sites Program, Letter of Intent.
Okay.
Rachel?
Thank you, Council. The Heritage Sites Program from the Japanese Canadian Legacies Society is one of a number of programs administered by the board of the Society to honor Japanese Canadians and legacies initiatives that will promote public awareness of pre-war and wartime Japanese Canadian history through interpretive heritage projects at sites of ancestral communities and other places of historical significance around the province. The Society let the staff at the village know that the village was identified as eligible to receive predetermined funding of up to $400,000 earlier in the summer of this year, which is very exciting. There's a number of Japanese Canadian heritage sites located on public spaces owned by the Village of Cumberland, and the Society has suggested that the village act as a lead applicant
for a heritage sites project. And there's other sites that have been identified as well in the Comox Valley, in particular, electoral area A. But because the primary public sites are in Cumberland, they're suggesting Cumberland manage these funds. So staff have been working with the Cumberland Museum and Archives, as well as staff at the CVRD, to work towards development of a heritage sites project and application for pre-approval from the Society. Part of this work to determine a project is targeted consultation with the Japanese Canadian community, which museum staff have agreed to lead through December and January, which is upcoming. Before village staff and the museum proceed any further with steps towards a project application, staff is seeking council approval to determine whether the village is willing to act as a lead applicant, commit to making an application, and manage funding as the lead applicant through the submission of a letter of intent with the Japanese Canadian Legacy Society. Staff resources will be required to support the development of an application, as well as management of the project, including engagement of a project manager. And we have confirmed with the Society that that project management cost is covered by the funding. There are no current projects planned for any Japanese heritage sites in the village in staff's work plans or through the council's strategic priorities, other than for the development of Nikai Park through the Maple Street subdivision, and that would be funded by the developer of that subdivision. Other projects that are currently in staff work plans, if this did proceed, would probably be impacted to some extent, as this is an emerging project, but a valuable project all the same. Heritage values of Japanese Canadian history in Cumberland are identified throughout the Heritage Master Plan and other village documents. A number of public spaces have been preliminarily identified for potential projects, and staff will be looking at feasibility of those sites and projects. It's early on in the program, and we haven't had a chance to really look at those potential projects. And staff will be looking to make sure that any project aligns with other village site works and plans for those sites. The sites that we're looking at so far include number 1 town site at Coal Creek Historic Park, which had the work in 2019 for the walking tour previously. The number 5 town site, which is the Nikai Park, and there's associated pedestrian trails and pathways connected to that. Potentially a location in the village commercial core. Village Park, which might feature sports fields, which was a valuable part of the Cumberland community as a whole, and in particular the Japanese Canadian community in the past. Village Park also connects with the rail link to Royston and the Royston Lumber Mill site in Royston. And as well, of course, the Japanese Canadian Cemetery on Union Road. So if council approves a letter of intent to be submitted to the Society, staff and project partners would work to clarify roles and responsibilities, proceed with consultation and project pre-approval, and an application development for the March 1st deadline. Staff would look to report back to council in February with an update on a project application.
Awesome, thank you. And I understand it was brought to the attention of the village by Oban and Roger, who's here.
Yes.
So we've also had conversations with them about interests or suggestions.
The museum is going to lead that
Okay.
process. The Legacy Society did do quite a thorough consultation earlier on in the program. They've asked us to do a little bit more targeted with the Cumberland connected
Yeah.
Japanese Canadian community,
Okay.
and the museum is going to be taking that on.
Awesome, thank you. Questions? Councillor Kettler?
Yeah, I know Michelle's not here to answer this, but I'm wondering whose plate it's going to fall on in staff. Just curious because, you're talking about, well, some things might have to fall
Shift.
off the plate, I guess, to bring it on. So just wondering. I think if, as we develop a project, I think that will become more clear, and once the feasibility of certain sites is done, I think definitely will have an impact on parks staff for sure. And if the cemetery is identified, then the cemetery as well would
Right.
But we're hopeful that a lot of that project management will be done through a contract, but there will still be staff resources required to oversee the project, absolutely.
Yeah. Next. Anybody? Councillor Therrien?
Yeah, thanks for that. If it's not going to cause too much of an impact on staffing, I am all for this. I know over 500 or very nearly 500 Japanese Canadians were displaced shortly after the war started, and celebrating that heritage and acknowledging the wrongs that were done will be very important going forward. So, yes, I'm in support of this.
Absolutely. Anybody else?
I'm happy to support this.
Yeah, I think, so are you looking for like ideas from council, or will you guys go brainstorm them and bring them back to us?
We've done a bit of brainstorming before, but I think it's important to get that consultation with the Japanese Canadian community done, and the values and feedback from that group. Of course, we're happy to have council feedback at any time. So if there's any ideas, we could include them in the projects that staff have considered. Absolutely.
Anybody got an idea? Because I do. So there's the lot on the corner of this corner beside the Waverly is owned by a Japanese family. And as far as I understand, they don't want to develop it and they don't want to let go of it. And there may be an opportunity to do an installation of some kind there, which would, I think, really benefit the commercial core, and also potentially could tell that story of the Japanese participation in the local economy, but could also recognize the sports and the community and all the other things, and could be, panels or whatever that could be moved off that site should it ever, sell or be moved or anything. But I also know that there were 3 different Japanese communities here, so any one of those sites would also. So I don't know what the plans for Nikkei Park or how big that is, but that's another idea I had for some kind of installation like that.
Yeah, we have looked at Nikkei Park and the current plans with the developer, and perhaps expanding and adding on to that. Definitely it's in contention and something that we'll look at. One aspect that the program is looking for is for foot traffic. Like how visible is this site going to be, and currently all the representation is really outside of the core area where there's a lot of activity and a lot of hustle and bustle in the community. Village Square is quite full.
Yeah.
So we are
Yeah.
it's a great idea to look at that other site in the commercial core, because we've looked at that, the business.
Yeah, and right adjacent to the museum seems like a good fit. Okay, so there's a recommendation there.
I'll move that council provide a letter of intent to the Japanese Canadian Legacies Society stating that the village is willing to receive and manage funding as a primary applicant to the Heritage Sites Program, enter into suitable partnerships with other organizations, and manage a heritage sites project funded under the program.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? And that is carried as well. Meeting schedule.
Yay.
Yay. Okay, so
Yeah, I was going to offer that we maybe go back to the original plan of
did you get your Monday?
budget on Monday, so yeah. A daytime budget experience as opposed to
October frenzy
multiple
there.
evening experiences. I know that the rest of council was not happy about that, so I think that majority rules, and we should go back to that original plan.
That's awesome if you can make that work. Does that, you can do that too?
The 2 days in a row plan?
Yeah, the 2 days
the
instead
daytime
of the October 3,
Yeah.
that's like every,
Yeah.
that's a lot of days plus Vaia in October. That looks untenable for me, so thank you. for that. Thanks, Roger. Any other feedback on this?
So, am I understanding then that we're going back to daytime budgeting in October?
Yeah, so those dates would be different then, right? The October dates, or would it be the same?
Well, maybe just the 2 Mondays. Or like
Yeah,
We could move the 15th and 16th to the 7th? Is
Yeah.
that what, the daytime and the 7th, if that's acceptable to the financial officer?
yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be perfect. And perhaps keep the 15th in the evening in case we need a bit
In
more
case
time.
of overflow, yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about making it like a long day too, because we didn't really like.
Yeah, instead of 2 days. But I kind of like the separation.
It's good to sit on it too,
Yeah,
because then well, if we had the full day, then we only need the evening for the second, I think, or a shorter bit.
yeah.
We don't need that one.
Yeah, we could even do a full day and then one
Half day or
evening.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll say that and then we.
Biggest budget year ever next year.
Can I confirm that would be
Yes.
October,
Please.
October 7th, say at
9.
9 o'clock?
Yeah.
At 9, and then October 15th at 5:30,
Yep,
keeping in mind that we can cancel that if it's not needed.
yeah.
And then October 21st at 5:30.
My dance card's open.
maybe we could go into the 7th thinking that maybe we would be able to have a full day or something.
Like just just like caffeine up.
It could
you
be an
know?
idea that maybe we get it all done in that day.
Talk fast.
I do like the thinking about it overnight, but
Yeah.
also we noted this year that we were
Yeah, we had
pretty good
extra
at it
time.
these days.
We did. We were
Stuff.
pretty smooth this time. Okay. And anything else there that anybody is concerned about or wants to move or? Rest.
Can I mention, Mayor Brown, that Michelle wanted me to make sure that you knew that I didn't schedule a committee of the whole for the 3rd Monday in July. I made that assumption.
Right, so we have,
You've got one January 20th, March 18th, May 6th, and November 4th for those evening committee of the wholes.
sorry, say that again. How many is that?
1, 2, 3.
We're just gonna miss July,
Four.
so
Okay. Is that enough? Can we do the whole? Well, we
can
also,
always schedule as needed.
yeah. So that's working on the every other month schedule, right?
That's Not very well, but we did our best.
Sort of, but
Because
then
September,
skipping July.
October is busy,
Right, yeah,
summer break.
yeah.
oh, that's
Yeah.
what we're doing. Oh man,
Now's the time.
but
Are you good?
team play here is good. Yeah.
Okay, okay, we can do it.
Does this just mean that some committee of the whole business is just going to move to regular council?
Yeah,
That could happen, yes.
So slightly longer agendas and, yeah, that's fine.
yeah.
Wait, sorry. Say that again.
We'll just
Well,
go later at night.
In months like July and June, when there's no committee of the whole scheduled at all, I imagine our agendas are going to fill up a little bit.
It might be a bit longer,
Right. Yeah. Okay.
if there's emergent things.
There might be more discussion items coming to council.
Yeah, okay. Okay, but this looks pretty good.
For now, this
For-
looks pretty good.
All right, so there's a recommendation there. Rachel's got our notes.
Change is good.
With the approved changes.
Yeah.
Second?
Oh.
So I think that was Councillor Kettler and Sullivan, and all in favor? And that's carried, thank you. All right, community grant program. That's you again, Rachel?
Yeah, me again. So, bringing this, the guidelines to council, really to look at the eligibility and the purpose of the program, see if council wanted to stick with projects that align with the strategic plan, which is now new, so would have to be updated. I've put some suggestions there of things that might apply to community groups. For grant applications, council can add more, take them out, change them up. And also, once you give direction, we'll bring a report back with the final updated guidelines, because there's other updates that are needed in those guidelines. And I just wanted to mention that if an application, say, came forward that didn't strictly meet the criteria that council sets out, staff would still bring it forward to council. Like, I really, in the past, the practice has been not to really screen those really sternly, unless there's other serious issues with an application, like for a business or something, money to a business. And I'll bring those to you, just with a note that it doesn't quite meet the criteria, and really leave that discretion up to council too.
Okay, great. Any questions, suggestions?
I appreciate that you put our strategic
Definitely.
plan
Yeah,
goals
thanks.
in there. Yeah,
Anything that makes it a little easier is fine.
yeah. And obviously we do hold these things as important, so so that should be part of our process in handing out grants. So yeah, I agree with that. Thank you.
100% also me agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes it easier. Thank you.
I like the guidelines, and just anybody that is thinking of coming forward to apply for this, please get your applications in on time.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Definitely a factor.
Okay, I don't have any changes either, so there's a recommendation there.
Recommend that council provide direction to staff on guidelines for the community grant program.
Looks good.
Second.
And they look good.
Open
Second.
the floodgates.
So just the bullet points that are
Yeah,
listed in the
yes.
report. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
As presented, thank you.
Yeah.
Presented. Great. Yeah. Thank you.
thank you. And do we vote?
Yeah.
Okay, that's carried. Okay, conference attendance.
Yes, conference attendance. So, I thought with conference attendance, it might be helpful, and I think council has done this in the past, just to go through each conference perhaps and just indicate if you're ready, whether you would like to attend or think you're going to attend, and we can just track that for AVICC, UBCM, and FCM, and have that conversation. And then if there's any that a particular member knows that they won't be able to go to, then council that member could say, I'd like to keep those funds and look at something else, or that money could be returned to the pot and redistributed amongst the other members if the council member can't use those funds. So if that's a process we could go through tonight, might be helpful.
Sure. So we'll just go through the list. So the first one is LGLA, which is imminent, end of January. Oh, no, that one's done.
If you wouldn't mind just doing the AVICC and
Oh, right.
BCM first,
Okay,
and then
yes.
to FCM for
Yes.
this year, which is FCM is in Calgary.
Where's FCM in 2025?
We don't know yet.
Yeah, there's not a lot of information out this early.
And
Okay, so UBCM, who's going?
I don't think I will be going.
I'm on the fence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Depends on our projects
No
at work.
answers.
That UBCM is the September one, right?
September, yeah.
Yes, I'm in for that.
And I'm in for that.
Okay.
Okay,
AVICC?
AVICC, yes?
And yeah, I'll be there.
No.
Which,
That's April, mid-April?
I
Ish, like,
should be able to attend this year.
Okay, and I'm in for that. Councillor Sullivan?
Just question marks all along. I don't know
Okay.
yet.
Right, you don't know your schedule yet. But you would like to.
I know my schedule. It's
Oh,
just
okay.
a matter of just
Yeah.
our staffing and just
Right.
some of it, like closer to I'll be able to figure out. Like I'm probably gonna like UBCM. I'd probably just go for resolutions kind of thing or
Okay.
take some days. Or
Yeah,
I just gotta
yeah.
figure out. I need to.
Yeah.
Need a bit more time before I can
Yeah.
make those decisions.
Okay. Okay, and you're not able to do
Well,
any,
I mean,
or do you want to
maybe the
try and do a couple of,
ABICC, I might be able to
do a couple of
attend,
days?
like a resolution day or something. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
So that's possible. I
Okay.
guess.
Oh, that's,
Part of it.
That's great. That's good to even know
Yeah.
Yeah,
you'd like to, and just to wait and see is fine.
yeah, totally.
Any interest in FCM? Which is, did we say where it was? June in Calgary.
Not for this year, but maybe future years.
Not unless we had some massive project that we needed to go and get money for or something. I can't see.
Yeah,
Because then you're just in
I don't-
Calgary.
I don't think I'm ready to go to that this year.
I mean, it would be cheaper because it's just in
That's true.
Calgary.
Fair. Fair.
But
Yeah.
I don't think we really have any, I don't, yeah, I don't know. FCM Sustainable, is that happening?
That will happen next year, and the
Okay, so
location
we don't
hasn't
need to-
yet been determined.
Okay, we don't need to decide that. Okay, so then, do you want me to go through the other list as well, just to see? So I had a question about the last 3 bullets, the Watershed Resilience Symposium, Annual Symposium on Water Stewardship in a Changing Climate. Are those actual things that are happening, or they've happened in the past?
I think they've happened in the past.
Okay.
And I haven't heard.
So I
if
was like,
they're-
wow, those sound awesome.
Yeah, I think COVID
And
kind
they're
of knocked
just in
some
Courtney.
things.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Reasonable.
Okay. Okay, so the only other one that I was thinking is Vaia. I didn't go this year. I think it's important since we don't have an ECDEV function anymore that at least I go.
Is it going to occur right in the middle of budgeting again?
October, well, we just moved budget, so hopefully
That is, I think it's on that. We do have
it's
the
in the
dates.
calendar, yeah.
Did I put it in the calendar?
Calendar go.
October 23rd and 24th, so I think that,
Okay, yep, we're
I
good.
think you're good this year. So we might be able to reallocate some FCM funds, so, between council members, and I think we estimate that to be about $3,400, so,
Okay.
which is, it doesn't, adds a little bit.
Where is ABSCC next year? Do we know? Does it
I think
say?
it's
Victoria.
Victoria again.
It's in Victoria.
Expensive.
Yeah.
hotels.
So if no one attended FCM, that's about $700 each.
Okay, that's great. Do we know what Vaia costs us?
It's not much because it's Nanaimo.
Yeah.
It's-
It's like $500 or
yeah,
something,
it's
isn't
a
it?
few
Okay.
$100, yeah. And LGLA has been reduced to about $1,400, just over $1,400, with the hotel rates, which we didn't have previously. So if a member could squeak out that funds out of their allocation, it could be possible to attend that, and it's coming up at the end of January.
Right. And
And
did
the
any,
program is coming out on Friday.
okay. And were you interested in going to that one?
Yes, but I don't think I'm going to be able to
Swing it.
swing it.
And anybody
I'll have to
else?
check. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
March or
I'm off for another trip in February.
Oh, that-
My wife started making money now. She's
It's really nice. That's really nice, counselor.
so soon.
Okay. Is that good? Is that what you need?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Is there a resolution there? Nope.
No.
Just to receive the conference attendance.
I'll move that.
Thank you. And
Second.
Thank you. Councillor Brecky, all in favor? And thank you. Oh, I did have a question, sorry, about, there's the newly elected's LGLA, but then is there an LGLA every year? Or is it random?
It's, I'm trying to remember that newly elected is just the year after the election. And I think the leadership forum is every year, but I'm not 100% sure on
Okay.
that. It might be skip a year.
Alternate or something? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. And then I think the Globe Forum was an LGLA program, and I think that's moving away from LGLA.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That brings us to the 2024-2028 financial plan bylaw.
All right, so the purpose of this report is to report back to council on feedback received from the public about the proposed financial plan and present council with the financial plan bylaw for consideration of first reading, and the frontage tax amendment bylaws and water rates, sanitary sewer rates, and solid waste collection fees amendment bylaw for consideration of first, second, and third reading. At the November 14th meeting, Council has confirmed the changes to the budget discussed during the Committee of the Whole meetings held on October 18 and 25th. And those changes have been incorporated into the proposed financial plan, which has been presented to the public at the November 20th Village Hall meeting. Some feedback has been received from the public. A comment has been received by email about prioritizing sidewalks on Alverston, Bruce, and 7th Street, as those streets don't currently have sidewalk. And a group of children and their caregiver also stopped by at Village Hall to request more swing sets to be installed at the Village Park Playground. The proposed financial plan bylaw includes a proposed tax rate of 7.52% for 2024 and an overall increase of 7.98% for utilities, charges, and frontage taxes. The water rate amendment bylaw includes an increase from 81 to 85 cents per cubic meters for residential consumption and an increase of $3.4 to the quarterly rate residential customers. An average increase of 1.5 is included for quarterly fixed rate for ICI customers, and the flat fees rates are increasing by an average of 8%. The sewer rate amendment bylaw includes an increase of 4.5% for residential customers and about 7% increase for ICI customers. The solid waste collection fees amendment bylaw propose an increase of $10.50 per quarter for residential customers and $8.80 per quarter for ICI customers. Frontage tax amendment bylaws propose an increase of a combined increase of 6.91% for 2024 for the water, sewer, storm water frontage tax rates combined. And the impact of all those proposed increase, including municipal tax, utility charges, frontage, and parcel tax, is equivalent to $243 or $20 per month for an average single-family household. And this doesn't include taxes collected for other authorities, as those numbers are not known at this point. So staff now recommends council to give first reading to the financial plan bylaw and first, second, and third reading to the frontage tax amendment bylaws and water rates, sewer rates, and solid waste collection fees amendment bylaw. The financial plan would then come back for second and third reading on December 11 and adoption on January 8, and the utility fees and charges and frontage tax amendment bylaws would come back to council for adoption on December 11th. Any question?
Questions, council?
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
I just thank you to staff for keeping a lid on all of this, and we had to make some pretty tough choices as council. I think it's a bigger increase than last year, but considering inflation and how everything's gone up across the board with materials and wages and everything everywhere, staff's done a really good job. So thank you very much for that, and hopefully the people of Cumberland are satisfied with how that came out. And if
If you're not, come out to the next village hall right before the budget.
Thank you for that. All two people that came.
I'll move the council give first
Thank you.
reading of the 2024-2028 financial plan bylaw number 1200-2023, and that council give first, second, and third reading of the water service frontage tax amendment bylaw number 1201-2023, sewer service frontage tax amendment bylaw number 1202-2023, stormwater service frontage tax amendment bylaw number 1203-2023, solid waste collection fees amendment bylaw 1204-2023, water rates amendment bylaw number 1205-2023, and sanitary sewer rates amendment bylaw number 1206-2023.
Thank you. Seconder?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? And that is also carried. No new business. Notice motions and announcements. Please check the website in case, but as of now, an Accessibility and Inclusion Committee meeting is scheduled for December 4th at 3 p.m. here in Council Chambers. And are there any questions? About anything?
No questions.
Nothing, and no audience either. Okay, everybody. Can I have a motion to adjourn then?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor? Time to go home. Thank you.